Hey y'all, what's happening? I'm not sure how many are going to show up for this because it's at an odd time and um, all that good stuff. But sorry I missed it, first of all, the other day. Apologies. Couldn't make it on Sunday. Um, just was busy day and stuff like that. It's been interesting because I flew over, went right into a rehearsal day, and then uh, next day was two shows in a row. So, the jet lag and everything, and then going right in. But actually, it was great. We had a really good time. Went to Kagoshima, flew into Tokyo, took another plane to Kagoshima, which is the south down in um, uh, Kyushu, and yeah, played these two gigs, and it was really awesome. So much fun. Um, just great crowds, and that's Yoshi Nagabuchi, the artist I'm playing with. That's his hometown, and so he's like a major hometown hero there, and so it was really fun. Somebody says they've got echoes. Is there echoes? Sound okay? Let me know if it sounds okay. I just want to make sure that it's not, screwed up before I say too much. Sounds fine here. You guys are all saying it sounds fine. Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, I might as well show you this. I always sometimes do this here. Oh, except I think you can see that says roastery, but it's maybe backwards. I'm not sure if it's mirroring for you guys or not, the screen. But this is kind of one of my favorite spots to go for a great coffee in Tokyo. So might look like roastery backwards, and I'm just not sure if I needed to flip my screen or not. Anyways, sometimes I think I've got that backwards. Oh, so it says you can read it. That's so weird to me. It looks backwards, but to you guys, I guess it comes out the right way. It's just how it is. I should take note of that because maybe does my studio look flipped every week? Because I think I have the setting different on StreamYard every week when I do this. I wonder if everything's backwards every week that I do these. No, I guess it's not. I guess it's not because I watch the replay sometimes. So anyway, um, I probably brought this up before, but it's okay. There's people here that have not seen this. Upstairs here, there's actually a great barbecue place. So if you come to Tokyo and you eat all the shabu and ramen and sushi that you can possibly eat, and you're like, I just want a good steak or a burger, it's actually really great up there. So it's called the Smokehouse, and then the roastery is here downstairs. Great coffee. I've got quite a few favorite spots for coffee in Tokyo, but this is definitely this one. There's something about it where it was kind of first thing in the morning jacks you like he's just got like energy for at least a few good hours. So anyway, somebody says they can't. Andy says he can't taste the coffee. That's not working, but the audio and the video are good. Are you standing outside because your scent is too strong? Purposeful porpoise. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah, I'm scarred for life, man. I gotta. I like this backlight thing. Got this kind of halo going from the good old sun. Anyway, what else? What you guys been doing? What's going on out there? What are you guys talking about in the chat here? I'm just taking a look. Did he kick you out again? It says purple before. No, this is a different place. I'm all good here. I'm all good here. I got juice in this place. Nobody kicking me out of here. They actually have these unbelievable donuts here. And I don't really eat donuts, but if I eat a donut, I eat it here. They're like these huge, I don't know, they call them New York rings or something, and they're like just absolutely massive and probably like 1,200 calories each or something. Really, really good. Anyway, I would walk around, but I'm on their Wi-Fi, so I don't want to move too much because who knows what'll happen. What can I show you? I guess I can show you where I am. And as long as I don't go too far here, this is called Cat Street. It's a walking shopping street that kind of runs between Shibuya and Harajuku. And it's really cool. And all the buildings are kind of these like, well, not all the buildings, but a lot of them are these kind of very small, like futuristic looking tiny buildings. And then it gets old school back there, definitely. That's not new, but this is new stuff, old stuff. New stuff, old stuff. And anyway, that's Cat Street. So if you're looking for a new jacket or some jeans or some jewelry or something like that, you can walk up and down this street and find that easily. Yeah. What else are we talking about here? Rings of uh can't read what that says, Tom, but I think it's might as well be decadence, right? Google says voltage in Tokyo is 100. Yeah, that's true. Um, any improvement in sound of amps? Well, I don't generally use my own over here. If I do, I'll have a transformer to bump it up to 115. But you can do that. You can just plug in and get 100 volts. If you had an old Marshall, it would be cool. I don't like doing that on new amps. There's a couple different reasons. One of the main reasons, God, that guy looks familiar. Guy walked by right now. Over there, blonde guy walking. Looks like Rick Parfait Jr. Rick Parfait from Status Quo's son, who I did a gig with in London. Uh, he just like looks shockingly. Maybe it is him. I don't know, and I just missed him. But uh, anyway, where was I? Yeah. So the problem is that sometimes the kind of the control logic, like if there's channel switching and stuff like that, it doesn't really want to see. It might work fine, but it doesn't really want to see those low voltages. You know, it's designed to work at 115 or 120 or whatever. And once you get down to 100 volts, I mean, maybe you start having some issues with, some of that other sort of, modern stuff in amplifiers that doesn't have anything to do with, tubes. And um, so that's something to consider. But and also I did bring a Bella here once when I was over here for a whole summer. I brought my Bella and I ran it because I was going to be here 2 months and I had a whole bunch of pedal demos booked and I had a whole bunch of downtime, days off, multiple days off. And I actually did some demos over here. You can see like my demo for the Strymon Dig, for example, you'll see me do here in a hotel room, if you were to look it up on YouTube. Um, what else did I do while I was here? I don't remember, but I did at least a few over here in this hotel room. And I had the Bella, and then I brought it just kind of like a clean platform. This is pre PT15. I would have brought that. That would have been perfect with its IR out and everything. But I had the Bella, and I had I think a Sur reactive load, and I would you know load like in a hotel room, have this amp going and load it down, and then just use headphones and stuff. And I recorded some videos that way. Um, which worked out pretty good. But I did notice the lack of kind of like, wow, the Bella doesn't seem to have a lot of headroom. And it's like, yeah, that's the, drop in, 18, 20 volts from where it's supposed to be. It can be cool on an old, Marshall or something that you want to get a vibe, that low voltage vibe on. But on an amp where you're doing pedal demos and you kind of want to hit it with drives, and it just wasn't optimum. Like the amp didn't sound as good as I thought it could, you know. And I think it was that voltage thing. So, what else we got here? Let's see. Braxall says, yeah, they got barbecue and steakhouse. Oh yeah, who said the steak here is out of control? I mean, just the Japanese Wagyu, blow your mind. Like it'll spoil you for anything else. There's nothing better. Sorry, America. They got you beat on steak. It melts in your mouth. It's ridiculous. Delicious. But this is more like an American style. Actually, place here, the barbecue upstairs is incredible. Really good. So, what else we got here? Let's see. Where is he? Says Chris. Tokyo. Yeah, I'm in Shibuya. And just hanging. Got a few days to myself here. Gonna do some stuff. Uh, Chris says 50. I think it's 60 hertz, 100 volts. I don't think it's 50 here. I don't know what other places are 50. England for sure is 50. But I believe it's 60 hertz, 100 volts here. I could be wrong about that. Maybe it's 50, but I don't think so. But I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. So, wish sure would do 100-watt Badger, says Purposeful Porpoise. That's an interesting idea. I haven't used the Badger in a long time, but I bet if I plugged it in and played through it, I'd, you know, be like, why aren't I using this more? Always a great amp, really good sounding amp. And it's got its place, for sure, for sure, for sure. Here's a question from Lambone. I used to buy Japanese rock mags like Burn and Music Life in my youth just because the bands from Japan looked so over the top. They do, it's true. Are there still a lot of wild looking bands there? Yeah, I'd say it's changed a little bit. I don't really have like my finger on it exactly. I think there's some like punk going on, a lot of that kind of stuff. I don't quite, which is a little sad. I don't quite see the sheer number of kids with guitars walking around and that Japan rock thing as much as maybe even 8 years ago. It seems like it's maybe waned a little bit. And I was talking with somebody about that the other day, and they were like, "Yeah, it's not happening as much. Like kids aren't like a little bit like everywhere. Although we might be seeing more of it in America, like a bit of a resurgence. I don't know. It's just anecdotal, but I'm not seeing quite the level of because it used to be you come here and just like, wow, like guitar culture, rock, guitar culture is still well and good and alive here, but it just seemed like there was, I guess it was like more young people walking around, looking like they'd just come from or were on their way to a band practice, guitars and basses and crazy hair and stuff. So just seemed to be like a lot of that sort of thing. So yeah, there's a guy here playing with his kids. Well, maybe, but super cute. Um, so anyway, um, where was I? Yeah, wild looking rock bands. I'm gonna try and get a bit more deep into that actually. I'm gonna go to a couple places and see what I see. Because I haven't had a lot of time to kind of do that, but just like go out at night a little bit, maybe ask some questions at a couple of spots, rock bars and stuff like that that I know of where I used to go. And just get a little more of the word on the street about what's happening exactly with music here right now. Yeah. Let's see. Sorry if I missed you if you were in Clearwater, Florida. I've been to Clearwater many times. I think the last time I was in Clearwater was with Classic Rock Show a couple of years ago when we played there 2023. We did a gig there with actually then no, the last time would be with Five for Fighting because only a couple months later I was back at the same venue at Five for Fighting and did a gig in Clearwater. Nice little theater downtown. I can't remember what it was called, but it was cool. Same theater for both bands. Can you get around if you don't know any Japanese at all, or will you get kicked out of Japan Jazzy Jeff stuff? Um, you just it's more like a cultural thing. It's good to learn basic words for please and thank you and uh simple things. But there's plenty of English going on. I'm in this place. If you go in here, I order in Japanese all the time, but I also see everybody, Americans go in ordering in English and they all speak English in there. So Tokyo, you're fine. Osaka, a little less, but still probably fine. Then when you get out into the smaller cities and stuff, you're going to find less English going on, as with anywhere, I think. I found that in France too, right? Where, Paris, you're fine. You go to you know, Lille or Nantes or something, there's less English going on. So, um, but if you just want to get your feet wet, take a trip to Tokyo, you'll be fun. I just really recommend learning some of the customs. Like even, right now, for instance, I'm trying to kind of talk quietly and I'm sitting away from people because there's a thing here with personal space and noise and nobody talks on you'll notice on the subway, it'd be a car full of people slammed with passengers and it'll be dead silent. Nobody uses the phone. You're not even supposed to. I mean, that's a rule. But beyond that, everybody recognizes the rules. It's a very rule-based culture, so it's good to learn some of the rules and respect them, that kind of thing. And then you're fine. To use a brown box on the road, says Jimmy Jack. I don't. Um, I've used a variac. Sometimes when I'm in Europe, what I'll do is well, windy out, windy and cold. Sometimes when I'm in Europe, and UK, I'll take a variac. I'll out of the step down transformer to go from 240 to 120. I'll run the output of that into a variac, and then I'll run the output of the variac into a power strip, US power strip, and I'll plug my whole rig into that power strip. Everything, pedal board, amps, wireless, and then I'll look on the power strip because it's a Furman that has a meter, and I'll set it to exactly 118, and I can do because sometimes what'll happen is out of the step the transformer you'll see 124 volts or something or 126 is like, oh, it's a little high, amps, you know t- throws a bias off and it gets a little taxing on things, I would assume, the hotter it gets. Um, so then I can fine tune it with the variac, but I'm doing it not for like a Eddie Van Halen tonal drop thing. I'm doing it just to make sure we're at 118 for the whole thing and more like that kind of vibe. Yeah. Braxell's asking if it's going to rain. Not today, I don't think, but you never know. I don't think today. It's like pretty high, kind of scattered clouds. It's just a bit windy. It rained yesterday. Yeah. Is there any place you've not been? There's lots of places I haven't been. I haven't been to India. I haven't been to China. Uh, lots of spots that I haven't been to yet, but I've been all over this place. There's still parts of Japan I haven't been. I want to go to uh Okinawa. Let's get down there. Never been up there. Let's see. Josh saying, I wonder if you had any experience with Archer or sorry, Kaler or Schaller tremolos, and are they better than Floyd Rose? Um, I have no perspective on modern Kalers. I used to have, um, I think I had a Kaler Spider on a guitar once. This is 35, 40 years ago. Which was sort of their version of a Floyd, as I remember. And then I had a regular Kaler on a Fender Lead 3. Weird to put it on that guitar, but I did. I had to route it out, put this Kaler on one of those guitars. It was like a 24 and 3/4 scale mini Strat, is what it looked like. And uh, and it was cool for a thing, but I did find here's the two observations I have about the original Kaler tremolo. The tone changes. Um, it seems like there's not as much of the fundamental note, I think. When you look at it, I mean, it's this great big honking piece of metal and this cam system, and there's rollers that are brass, and the way it's really sits. But I just don't think that the transfer, the vibration to the body can be the same with a Kaler because of the sheer mass of the thing and the way that it's kind of you're almost separating the string from the wood more. I mean, there's no like two posts that are, you know, knife edges where the vibration's going in and going into the wood or anything. It's kind of more like this cam system. It's a very unique design. It does, on the plus side, it's got a really cool feel. It's kind of like almost like a modern Bigsby feel, but with more action or something. It's got this very soft kind of like I liked the way the bar felt a lot. I thought it was really cool. I don't know if you guys that have had them feel the same way. I just thought it was really light and kind of cool, like for especially for like vibratoing chords and stuff. I'd love to actually have a guitar with one again, like just to have that feel. Because you know how Floyd feels different than a Strat, feels different than a Bigsby, feels different than the Kaler had its own thing, but it was almost like a little more that soft Bigsby feeling than Floyd, that kind of harder, more aggressive. Like you know how Floyd's got that more tension on the bar, but also drops more pitch quicker, faster. It was a more subtle sort of range of motion, I felt like with the Kaler. Um, Now, what was the other bridge you're asking about? Schaller I had on something. It might have been the guitar that I no, that had an Ibanez Edge. I built a guitar once that and painted it myself. Or no, actually, I had it painted at an auto body shop. I don't want to lie, but I put that guitar. It was like a kit guitar I put together myself. That had an Ibanez Edge tremolo that I bought. Uh, but the Schaller, what was the Schaller on? Uh, Schaller Floyd. I know I had one on something. I can't remember what guitar though. I had a lot of guitars in my younger days. Went through a lot in the 80s. It seemed fine. I think I like the original Floyd Rose better. I mean, I have original Floyd Rose on my old Jackson from the 80s. And that bridge is just rock solid tuning stability and never had a problem with it. And, um, Scott sent me that bar, by the way, if he's here. We were talking about it on the show last week. He sent me a bar from my Jackson, original Floyd bar with a screw in, old school arm. So thanks, Scott, for that. It's awesome. It fits perfectly. Bridge works great still, just like it always did. Super cool. So it's- there's nothing wrong with that guitar. I think though, like the wiring, it sounds a little funny to me. And I notice when I'm wiggling the vol, I've got a push pull volume pot on my old Jackson, which has two humbuckers on it. And the push pull uh, does coil tap. It sounds weird to me. The bridge humbucker doesn't sound like it should. It's got an old JB in it, and I'm not convinced there's not something wired wrong or the switch is doing something weird. So I'm gonna have that looked at. Maybe have that volume pot replaced and just make sure it's wired up correctly and stuff. I plugged it in. I was playing it the other day. It sounded a little odd to me. A couple, maybe a year or two ago or something, I plugged it in. I remember it also sounding like just a little odd. Like it doesn't sound as punchy and bridge as it should. Almost like it's like the coils are wired weird or something. So I'm just gonna double check. But anyways, got the bridge rocking now. Um, Chris says he's talking about Ian Thornley interview where Ian doesn't think he's a good slide player. Ian Thornley, God man, he's an amazing slide player. He's unbelievable. I think, as he described his slide playing to me as uh, like two parts Rye Cooter and two parts Sonny Landreth or something like that. And I guess I can definitely hear that, mixed in with like some uh, hyper skill of their trucks or something, because he can do all that crazy articulation like Derek does, which is so cool. Would love to see how you build your rhythm tracks, says Zach. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to. I could put it into some sort of lesson, I guess. I basically just use Superior Drummer a lot, find a good sound, and then find the right grooves and make changes to them to get them right where I want them to be. I string together a drum track in about a half an hour generally, and lay down some rhythm guitars, and then I really have fun playing bass. So that's a big part of the whole thing, I guess. It's really fun to jam on bass these days. And Braxel says that Taylor takes a lot of real estate. Yeah, they really did. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's see what else we got here. Whammy bar's placed in a weird place on the Kaler, I guess you mean, Braxel. It does not have the same feel as a Floyd. Yeah, it's got that softer feel, which is kind of nice, I think. Earl's asking if I'm into sumo. No, I'd love to go though. I'd love to go to a sumo match. It'd be fun. Yeah. Uh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Earl says it's not a multicultural society, very defensive of preserving their culture. 100%. And, sort of as they should be, just like the French should be, I think. And, there's a lot of beauty in it and a lot of artisanal, expertise and in all from the, you know, crafts to food to architecture to fashion. To, this there's just a lot of amazing history here, and it unfortunately, as people get older, it slips away a little bit. I think. Sorry, just one second. these folks are really cute, but they're really noisy. They're kind of doing the thing I was saying not to do. It's taking up a lot of space for four people. It's really cute, like two cute kids and a guy and his wife. I'm not sure where they're from. Um, they're not Italian, but they sound like maybe they're from like I'm not sure. But anyway, they're kind of like you know. I mean, it's really cute. The guy was like playing with his new baby and stuff, and adorable and stuff, but really noisy. And it's not normal for now. Now they're gone and it's like silent out here. So it's kind of one thing that I just feel like with Japan, just like read the room. I mean, I'm a read the room guy no matter where I am. Like I'm in America, it's like read the room, get the vibe, and make sure you're fitting into it and not, you know. But anyways, just if you're in a space like this, right? If you kind of dominate this space with your energy, so by, somebody's over here and somebody's over there and they're yelling at one another across. That's not, because you don't do that in Japan. You just kind of keep it, you know, respectful. It's kind of amazing because I noticed it a long time ago. One of the first times I came here, how you can have 25 million people in a city and still have it function. And it can be cramped at times, and you can be on a train and be like this next to people, but everybody's being quiet and everybody's being respectful, and it just works. Um, it never gets, you never see road rage or heated like that. Just doesn't happen here. I mean, sure, there's going to be an exception every so often, but it's incredible to be in a place that just functions like. And is also very, I mean, if you look around here at you can almost eat off the street. It's not like that everywhere now, and that's largely due to, foreigners, but you're not going to find any. There's the whole thing where there's no trash cans here. There's no, you got to kind of carry your trash with you. Um, so for a place that doesn't have any garbage cans anywhere, how does it stay so clean? It's just because people respect, that you drink up plastic, got a plastic water bottle, you carry it with you all the way till you get back to your hotel room. Unless you can, maybe you can find like go in a 7-Eleven or something, and there'll be a receptacle there for plastic bottles. You put it in there. That's what you do. You don't leave it out on the street. That just doesn't happen. Although it happens more now that there's over tourism and a lot of foreigners here. So anyway, okay. Let's see what else we got here. I'm gonna go to the bottom of the chat. We've got about 95 people online, which is not too bad for an odd time, right? I think you guys are talking about maybe folks that use Taylor's. Somebody mentioned Jerry. I guess Jerry Cantrell. Saw Jerry playing with Soundgarden the other day, using the blue dress guitar with the Kaler on it. That's pretty cool. Of course, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The original Floyd, the bar is bolted on. You cannot just unscrew it. To me, it is still the best Floyd, the original. Yeah, the very original, the first one. I think that's right. I never had one of those. John Suhr has one. He's got like one of the very first ones made. It's not on a guitar. It's just, loose. Pretty cool. Uh, yeah. Ooh, Braxall says my original Floyd is on a original San Dimas Charvel star body guitar with a custom paint job. That's cool, dude. I'd love to see that guitar. Where you been hiding that? What's the paint job? Tell us more about it. Is it Strat headstock? Probably, right? Have you ever seen Tedeschi Trucks live? I haven't actually. Never seen them. Derek is amazing though. He's an unbelievable guitar player. Derek Trucks and Sonny Landers are the two masters of the slide guitar. Agree. I mean, both are says Earl. Yeah, they're incredible. Yeah, yeah. Chris says I love the vibrato system on the Jazz Master and Jaguar. Absolutely. I'd like to get a Jazz Master one of these days. I maybe just do a Sir with that mastery bridge. And it's got this incredible kind of tremolo. It's like an improved Jazz Master bridge, basically. If you haven't seen the mastery bridge, maybe check that out. Yeah, or maybe get a vintage one. God, man, I just didn't have the money. It was mid 90s. There was one at a music store in what's the town that's just east of Pasadena? Oh God, I can't remember. It starts with an M. Why am I forgetting? Just east of Pasadena, California. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It was a little music store, about, you know, 5, 10 miles east. And they had a 65 Jazzmaster that was under the bed condition, original case, unbelievable, $1,500. I mean, those were the kinds of deals you saw in the 90s, 1,500 bucks was a lot of money to me back then, and it was just more money in general back then. But I remember an SG, man, SG Junior, probably like 65 or something, SG Junior, $500 in Pasadena. Those guitars are like $9,000 now. It's so crazy. But anyway. All right. Well, we've been going about a half an hour already. Wow, this is flying by. I'm gonna hang another 10 or so, and then I'm gonna split and some stuff. So Ian says I had a Kramer Focus 200. That's one of the import Kramers that had an original non-fine tuner Floyd. However, it had no locking nut, so it didn't stay in tune well. Yeah, those guitars that it probably had well, did it have string trees, or I guess it was a Kramer headstock, right? Probably not the hockey. Was it a hockey stick headstock, or the kind of the one that looks sort of like a Sir headstock? I mean, before the days of locking tuners, if you had a perfect nut and locking tuners, it actually probably stay in tune pretty good. But yeah, I have a Floyd. I'm an '83 Kramer Pacer Carrera, says Chris Quinn. You guys got some cool old guitars, cool old shredders. Have you visited Kyoto? Incredible cultural treasure, says Earl. Yeah, I was in Kyoto last year actually. Yeah, I had a good time down there. And I've been there, 2014, 2015 in the past to play. But I saw more of it actually. Was it last year or 2 years ago? I think it was last year, 2024. I was in Kyoto. Yeah, last. As a person with non-traditional employment, any tips for affordable health care in these trying times? Dude, it's brutal, it's only getting worse. I mean, I got a lot of thoughts on it, and but just without getting into politics, it's like I'll just say, I mean, Americans, I think it's a sham. It's unsustainable, uh, and it's a terrible system. It just is. If you've got a ton of money, you're fine, great. You know, I came to the realization a long time ago that the main thing about America is you just have to make a lot of money. You have to make a ton of money, and if you do that, you can live a good life. There's no way around it because there's no net. That's the reality. No matter what side of a political spectrum you're on or whatever, let's face the reality. You got to make a lot of money or you're screwed, because the healthcare and then just the older you get, you're just kind of biding your time until you get up to 65. And then you get what? Medicare, right? Or Medicaid, whatever it's called, the program for older adults. Um, Mine goes up every year. I can't wait to see how much it's going to go up this year. It's bonkers. And I don't really have a hell of a lot of tips. No, unfortunately. I've got just to, transparent, I don't mind talking about it. I've got Kaiser, basic, kind of a middle of the road Kaiser plan. It's not it's not a great plan. It's not a terrible plan. Um, quite like them though. I'll give them props. Especially recently, I feel like Kaiser is the American healthcare system can be difficult to navigate from the perspective of if you have, let's say you got Blue Cross or whatever, and then you're sent to you've got a primary care physician, your specialist is over here somewhere else for whatever you got to go do. Something else is over here, the lab. You get bills and problems with all those people talking to one another, things coming, billing coming from all angles and all that kind, and it can just be difficult. Like you ever see the South Park on it? Navigating the American healthcare system. They did this whole song that was hilarious, but it was actually really good. You should watch the South Park on this. Um, it's funny no matter, if you don't laugh at it, then you got no sense of humor. But because you gotta laugh because it's absurd. But the one good thing about Kaiser, I will say, that maybe some people view it as the bad thing, but the good thing is that it's all in one place. So, it's all in your app. You need to go look at a test result from 10 years ago or track your results over the last 10 years for, let's say you go get a physical done, you get blood work done every year or two. You can see it, the progression or the line of, how your cholesterol is or things like that. And just it's all in there. It's also organized, all your billing. You need to make an appointment, you need to ask a question, it's all in one app. Uh, and I think that it's really a nice system for that. So that my recommendation is to go there and look, just it'll be sobering, like whatever it costs every month, even for they're what they call a bronze plan or whatever. But get what you can, and hit them up and ask questions if you have questions. And that's my kind of my recommendation for if you're in a position where, I mean, I think ultimately, if you were to get really ill, God forbid, and you got a problem, it's probably best to, maybe like UCLA. I live in LA. That's probably, it's the best sort of medical network or whatever. So I wouldn't be able to do that if I had Kaiser, but we need different insurance. But for if you're just a normal person and you need some insurance, and I do recommend them. I think it's good. Is it a lot of money though? Yeah, it's way too much money every month. You know, it's crazy. It's bonkers. And I just think Americans that have been sort of browbeat and gaslit into thinking that that's normal or that's better somehow. And for me, it's I'm tired of sort of hiding my views on it. I did grow up in Canada for 20 years. I know the ins and outs of that system as I had that healthcare forever. My family, you know, my parents, everybody that's lived under that system. I can talk about a lot of the problems with it too. It's not perfect. Is it better? I think so, Yeah. Um, and that is borne out in just things like, I'll move on from this right now, but when we look at infant mortality and life expectancy and all that kind of data, it's just, you know, it's unfortunate, and it should change. And I think that people should be. I've never understood this something about America because I am an immigrant to America. One thing I've never understood is why people don't demand that things are better. It's like there's a certain American sort of like, which is the best country in the world, right? And it's an amazing place, and it's got a ton of opportunities. It is incredible, and there's also no problem to me with demanding that things get better. I think more and more people are getting there though these days because the world's a crazy place right now, especially there. It's a difficult time. Things I get just to talk a little bit more about bring it back to here. This cost me like coffee here 800 yen, 700 yen. That's about. I know it's the yen to the dollar is just really favoring the dollar right now, but that's about $5. What does one of these cost you in America right now? It's more like eight, right? 7 or 8. You can go out for breakfast here or lunch, and you're not spending more than $10 a person. And we know what it costs in America right now, right? Things are too expensive. They're just too freaking expensive. And it's that's healthcare, that's basic necessities, um, the grocery store. It's all bonkers, So there's got to be a way that we can, for normal people, right? And it's not, yeah, big blue sky says big pharma makes the rules. Well, that's true. And there's these systems in place in America that there's a lot of people that don't want it to change, because that's their, the oil and gas industry, the pharmaceutical industry, or the health insurance industry. Every one of these places has execs and CEOs making millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars every year, and yet they'll jack your you know, it's crazy. So, and it's getting to be out of control where people just you know, can't just when you got, people now going to get, yeah, it's here in America, it's $378 to even think about lunch, says Arthur. Yeah, it's true, man. Like everything is just, it's funny. I'll go out now and routinely on the regular, I'll go out and do things I used to do. And then I'll think, I gotta cut back, man, because it's like it's not even noon and I've spent $75 on some coffee, a little bit of food, something, some paper towels. I went to the store the other day and bought paper towels, and I had 6 rolls of paper towels, and I didn't really look at the price. And I went up to the till and I rang it up, and it said something like $23. I was like, "What?" And I found myself back in the paper towel section and looking at the price and then realizing that they were on sale, but you needed a digital coupon to get the deal. What's that? I've never done this. I get on my phone, I sign up for the Ralph's, whatever it was, the app, and I make a profile, and then I could get a digital coupon, and then I ended up paying like $13 or something for like 6 rolls of extra large paper towels or whatever. It was I was, the list price or whatever was going to be like 20. It was bonkers. So I know you're all feeling this out there. I mean, you know. And Blue Sky says food absolutely blows too. Quality is gone. Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, like here, I take pictures on the daily. I'll send them to Britt because she's on a low FODMAP diet right now. It's a very specific diet. One thing she's just eating a lot of is sashimi every day. So you go to the grocery store and you buy like 6 pieces of sashimi in LA, it's like $18. So it's all sent her pictures here of like a nice spread of sushi or sashimi, and it's like basically 600 yen, which is like 450. It's like 4 times as much in America. I know it's Japan. There's more of it, more fish everywhere. See, this is what I'm talking so fast and everything. That's this stuff. Roastery coffee. I love that feeling. Why I stay away from stimulants other than coffee because I enjoy the feeling too much. What else we got here? Let's see. What else you guys talking about? Um, Heading back in the chat. Got much worse after the Citizens United Supreme Court ruling that corporations can donate as much money as they want to politicians. We got to all agree on that, right? Like it shouldn't be yeah, that's kind of what's headed, in the oligarchy direction and all that, right? With the corporation CEOs, people, controlling basically what happens. It's not supposed to be that way. Um, and it's definitely nobody's benefiting if you're just normal people like us, right? Working folks. So, you know, and I saw saying a little while ago too, because there's obviously so much political division in the states, but we all got to agree, like the public, as it's reaching this temperature boiling point, and where people are starting to get it, no matter what side of that argument you were on, like any kind of political, where it's like, yeah, everything's just too much damn money. So that's just like, and I've always said, like, you want Americans to come for you with pitchforks, take their money, you know, come after their money. There'll come a point where they're all going to be united to, on the side of like, this ain't working anymore. I firmly believe that, I do. Um, where was I? Anyway, anyway. Oh yeah, another good one I saw at some point was like if you put red ants and black ants in a jar together, right? They'll all hang together and everybody will be cool, you know. Shake that jar and they start fighting, actually. And so the question is not which one's right or wrong or between the two, because they were all hanging before, right? The question is who's shaking the jar, right? You know, it's true. Anyway, I'm still a positive guy about it all. I hope that, things get better and people realize that it can be better. And it's okay to question, like, shouldn't this be better? We should demand more. Get something for your taxes that's tangible, right? If you're going to pay them, because we all pay them. Boy, do we ever. Anyway, enough about that. What else? What else? Earl says his local hospital is a nonprofit, has a patient portal that keeps all records of labs, appointments, and doctor feedback comments. That's cool. Yeah, as long as it's a good organization, because I think that's what Kaiser is. It's a good example of it's corporate, obviously for profit healthcare, but they do a pretty damn good job. I give them credit, they do. Recently I've had good experiences. I'm always pretty impressed with them. So yeah. Yep. Uh yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, it's El Guapo saying covered California quoted me 702 per month for Kaiser bronze. That's the lowest. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm not far off from that, what I pay every month. pretty damn close. So at my age, I guess that's just where I'm at. And like I say, my only answer is just to go, well, this is reality for now, and I can't change it. So I need to make enough money and work hard enough that I can afford what it's going to be, because there's not really another option. It's just staring us all in the face, and we have to figure it out, right? So, um, yeah, I firmly believe in America. It's my one thing. When people want to come there and now to whatever, play guitar or do it, I'm like, hey, here's the deal. It's not an easy place to live on the cheap. It's tough, and you have to earn a lot of money. So figure out how to do that, and you'll be okay. You know, maybe play guitar for a hobby and sell real estate or something. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, good talk. Good talk. Brian says income tax is a grift. I mean, I don't disagree if it's not going to anything that benefits you, or if it's going to only some things that benefit you, and then a lot of things are going to you know what I mean. It can be that, and I would say it's, yeah, I don't disagree with you actually. But the reality is it doesn't need to be. That's what I think. I think that the government is always bad thing is, well, it can't, there's a lot of examples of that, but there's examples of it really working for people. Um, you know, I wonder if I polled people here what they would say. This country, for instance. So yeah. Uh, what else? What else? Check your email, says Braxel. You sent me some photos of the guitar. I will check it out. Uh, yeah. Uh, yeah, 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 yeah. Medical tourism is a thing. That's true. Says Boomer. That's true. You can go get some amazing, dental work in Mexico or Thailand. People go there all the time and have all kinds of things done. It's totally a thing. Vietnam. That's right. Boomer says. Yep, absolutely true. Um, yeah. Um, anyway, that's enough. Any more of this talk, and we'll get into too much politics, because it's not really about politics. We're just talking about people being able to afford things, aren't we? Which, yeah, it's politics adjacent for sure. But nothing's working right now. So, mm, okay. Well, what else? What else? Guess I should move on from. I should probably split actually and just go enjoy the day, 'cause this is my day off. But let's see what Espen of Drummond says. I just picked up a high watt, high gain 50 for $500. Do you know anything about those? My first high watt. I don't. Going for the Neil Sean Stone and Love Tone. I asked him one time what he used on that, and he told me it was this modified high watt. So maybe it is that. I don't know about that amp though. And I'm not like a total high watt aficionado. I do want one of these days. It wasn't that long ago that I realized that Pete Townsend actually used the amp called a CP103, which is based off of a Sound City design, I think. Sound City amps. Uh, Four inputs with four volume controls, I think, one for each input. I think that's right, but only one of them really sounds good. That was the Pete Townsend amp. The DR was a different thing, although it can sound pretty similar, I think. Um, and you got your bright and normal volume and a master. I wonder when they always seem to have a master. I don't think that those amps the DRs ever came out and didn't have a master, right? So they must have been. I've always wondered this, but they must have been one of the first amps that had a master volume, the high watts. Maybe somebody out there can clarify that. Um, but you see generally that they're four hole kind of designs in the early 70s through the late 70s. And then you'll see DRs at the end of the 70s into the 80s. I'm not sure exactly when, go to the two input design. It's kind of interesting, and it always seems like the 4-hole ones are the more desired. By that I mean 4 inputs, the more desired ones. But they're definitely cool amplifiers. I did a fun video on one that I borrowed from John Shanks. If you want to watch it, my high watt video. Uh, High watts are unlike anything else, as Chris Quinn. Being in the room with a loud one is really something. Yeah, they're very penetrating. There's a certain quality to the EQ where it's just like this mid range that's like, "Ooh," peel the paint, but it's a great sound. Man, Noel Gallagher was using a couple. He's using a couple on the Oasis tour right now, and they sound great at that show. Like a couple of high watt combos. I think they're just high watt 50-watt combos. Killer sounding. Yeah, yeah. Braxel saying, watch the Rick Beato Neil interview. I did start watching that. It is good. Yeah. And the Neil Sean interview. I want to watch more of it. I didn't get to see it all, but I watched some last week. Rick's doing such good work. Did you use your fractal pedal for the current gig, says Chris? Yes, I have VP4 is for all my time-based effects, delay, reverb, mainly just delay and reverb. I'm also doing a little bit of volume swell stuff with it. That's kind of cool. I'm getting used to using it, like kind of the functionality of it and being able to switch things on and off within a song, within a preset, pretty easily. The first song of the set, I use a bunch of delay right off the bat and some kind of ambient reverb. And then I use the swell function a little bit to swell into the delay sound with some ambient chords. And then I turn all that off and just go for a dry thing. And then build into a kind of way more rock, aggressive tone, switch to a lead sound at the end with some, epic delay on it, stuff like that for soloing at the end of the song. Works great. Yeah. Tremolo sounds really nice. The spring reverb in it is really like there's a ton of boing in it, that kind of like that just sounds like it's so crashy and cool. Really good. Yeah. What else? What else? What else? Uh, what else? What else? What else? Go enjoy, says Blue Sky. I should do that. I should probably split you guys and take off. But have you ever slaved a Marshall and 63 Bandmaster, says Peter? No. Are you kind of going for the Eddie Van Halen? I think he tried that. Might be what you're talking about. Those old Bandmasters with the present circuit are pretty cool though, but I've never tried it. I have tried like slaving a Marshall into another Marshall or different things. I never get it to work, like right into the front end. I've never made that sound good. Um, but you can put a power amp input on an old Marshall, essentially use it like a power amp, and then it sounds really good, you know. So okay, I'm gonna go, you guys. I'll be here. Let me see. Um, Playing a gig next Sunday. Monday will be a travel day home for me, so I'm not gonna be able to do. Yeah, Monday I'll be flying. Time is my flight. Yeah, Sunday night. This is not gonna happen next week too. So I'll do something similar where maybe the next day when I get back to LA, I'll get on and do one of these like the first couple days, even Monday, Tuesday, I'll do a live stream. Um, Following week, I should still, I think, be in in LA. So I can probably go back to Sunday for the following week. But next week I'll do something similar to this where it is what it is. The folks are gonna have to watch later. Always try and do it. I'm sorry if I missed it on Sunday. I want to keep it. I know it's like a regular thing. I get used to it, like the routine. I'm a routine-based guy. Uh, I really like the routine, but 'cause sometimes it's just impossible. So, but I do the best I can. All right, you guys. From the roastery and the smokehouse. If you ever come to Tokyo, check these places out. The coffee will set you on fire. Fantastic. Mm. Have an awesome week. Everybody be nice to one another out there. Have a good time. And I'll see you guys in a week's time. Okay. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you all. Take care.